WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where we hope Christian had a good Father's Day. It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome. We literally did not think we would be coming to you tonight. Maybe just on Twitter. We had a little StreamYard issue with YouTube, so we thought maybe we're just going to come on the Twitter and then do it old school. Send your questions in by adding us on Twitter, but thankfully we are back in our normal capacity. And thanks to everybody in the chat, Ozzy and Mark Cho, and hey, we got old 1 inch in the chat even tonight. Daryl Bullock, a former host of the show as well. Good to see you. Mark Cho saying, "Who's ready for the White Six?" I am definitely ready. I'm also ready for the Celtics to win championship number 18 tonight as well, which should be a formality, hopefully, and hopefully not a repeat of Friday. But we'll see.
It won't be.
They just wanted to wait till he got home. That's probably what happened.
I think both teams. I think the NHL and the NBA. I think Florida and Boston just took the night off.
Yeah. Edmonton sure put old snowman on him. That was
Yeah. I think I truly believe both teams took the night off.
Yeah.
When they both went up 3-0, I said on Twitter, I'm like, yeah, both these series end in 5. They're gonna want to finish these on their home court and ice, and they just took off game 4.
Yeah, hopefully. So I'm gonna put Raw up in the corner there, watch some qualifying matches. WWE literally just got home from Scotland apparently, because they just now updated their front page to include a Raw preview, and then it says you're not authorized to access this page. Why it's already fucking with us. That's what's happening. But anyways, thank you for joining. Frantic World, thank you for joining us in the chat. Thank you, everybody from all around the world on Twitter, YouTube, and all those shenanigans. Are we even on Facebook?
Yeah, we should be everywhere right now.
We're everywhere, man, except for podcasts. We aren't doing that yet. You got to watch our faces in order to hear us. That's a mandate, damn it. But hey, if you have not done so already, go to WrestleZone's YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, so that way you know every time they go live, we go live. Anybody on the channel goes live. Us, of course, 10 after, 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central, 4:10 over on that other coast. And got a lot to talk about tonight. 2 pay-per-views happened over the weekend. Normally, we would not be talking about TNA, but there's a couple of things that happened there. So we will update you on that. We'll update you on some contract situations and some return situations, set you up for Monday Night Raw at the top of the hour, which is going to be full of Money in the Bank qualifiers. And, of course, the end of the countdown. So are we finally getting the White Six tonight? I would assume so. With that countdown, I don't think they would want to swerve you either of the way there. But anyways, we're going to get right into it. But first, thank you for tuning in and follow us on the Twitter. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JB Huskers. And as always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
Doing all right. I think Raw should be a big show tonight. Like I know we were talking about the NBA Finals, but I want to hope and believe that Triple H isn't going to be punting against them tonight with all this build up for the White Six and everything. Like you need to deliver a very important episode tonight on the road to Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. So hoping we get a big Raw tonight. Already know we're getting a big Dynamite on Wednesday. CM Punk announced SmackDown on Friday. You know, we should have a lot of good stuff to sink our teeth into this week.
Tony Khan listened to me bitching last week and put in a full poster of what's going to happen on Dynamite. So we'll get to that at the end of the show. Thank you, Tony, for doing that for me. I really appreciate it.
You know they do those every week, right?
They don't do them by Monday. Usually, a lot of times they do it by Monday.
Well, technically that poster isn't everything. It only has like 3 matches on it. That's not the full card.
Yeah, there's like a face-to-face, a contract, and
Yeah.
3 matches. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyways, it's good to have that on there, so at least we have something to go off of. We don't normally have that on Mondays when we're going live. So, but anyways, let's get into what happened on Saturday afternoon across the pond in Glasgow, Scotland. Ovo Hydro is the setting for Clash at the Castle Part 2 for Drew getting screwed. We'll get into that a little later on. I was a little surprised that this joint only held about 11,000 people, and with obviously Drew being front and center for the promo work and everything like that, and obviously you got 4 homegrown Scots going for titles. I figured I thought there'd be a bigger building for this baby, but still, it was
as pricely as those tickets were. I don't think they could have fit any more people into the building than they did.
Yeah, they franced it up for the prices there.
Yeah, they were ridiculous. Honestly, the tickets were ridiculously overpriced.
Like up front or secondary?
No, up front.
Oh,
yeah. Like disgustingly high. Like WWE needs to hope that their momentum doesn't sputter at any point high.
or else we're going to be back hosting Clash at the Castle live from Worcester, Massachusetts.
I feel like they just need to be careful to not price their fan base out of their shows.
Right.
Because some people are desperate and they're going to go no matter what because they're only going to be there like once a year or less than that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they're doing it. Yeah.
But the price is so high that like I honestly, as a person who picks and chooses shows that I go to, if I were to see those prices, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to sit and watch it at home on Peacock.
I paid 33 after bullshit, and I was literally 3rd row lower bowl right at the stage. Literally, I could have caught Edge in my arms if he wasn't hurt, but unfortunately. Anyways, we kick things off with the I Quit match between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. There is something magical between those two that they could just put on a damn good match. I thought this match was maybe even at a higher level than the other match. This was probably my match. This is my match of the night, though. I'll tell you what, this was my match of the night, but I did not like the ending. I did not. It's like I wanted something more extreme to cause AJ to quit than a threat of steel steps, which it hit him anyways. That was my only gripe, was the end, but it was an amazing match. I loved Cody Rhodes' mom throwing some cuss words at AJ, slapping him a few times. I know Matt was afraid she was going to be used in the finish. A lot of people were afraid that she was going to be used in the finish and AJ would be your new world champion. That did not happen. But overall, I enjoyed the match. These two work real well together. I don't know. It seems like WWE and I Quit endings just lately to me don't click. What were your thoughts there, Matt?
It was definitely my favorite match of the show. And yeah, dude, I don't know. You're handcuffed in a corner and you can't defend yourself, and you got a gigantic steel steps coming at your skull. I don't fault him for trying to get out of that. It was very similar to the Copeland Cage finish in AEW a couple months ago, only it was the steel the nailed 2x4.
Yeah, that was going to go to the nuts though.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, the finish was very similar.
Yeah. But
I feel like Christian Cage was handcuffed in the corner as well, if I recall correctly.
If he was going to pendulum those steel steps to my nuts, I would have said I quit too.
Well, WWE wasn't going to go for the nailed 2x4.
No, they got blood though.
In 2024.
Got blood though.
Very little blood, but they got some blood. By the time the match was over, you wouldn't even have known Cody bled.
No.
Like that. That's how little blood that we had.
It already healed and cleaned up by then. Yeah, like I said, minor gripe to a tremendous match. It just like I don't know. I just don't like I quit matches, especially when the ref's asking him 2 minutes in. Yeah, he's gonna quit off a drop kick. Stop it. I don't know. I just don't like
I enjoyed it. Like I said,
I did. I did.
It was my favorite thing on the show.
I quit matches annoy me though nowadays. I don't know. They annoy me. But it still was a good match. It was. I already said it was the best match of the show. So, but of course, hot crowd. And obviously, I mean, we're talking about hot crowds. With these foreign papers. Well, yeah, they come once a year, twice a year, maybe. So they are going to be a hotter crowd than the domestic crowds. It's not a surprise, though. The domestic crowds have kind of taken a cue, and a majority of them this year have brought the energy at WWE shows. So that's a props there. But the Scottish crowd was very good at this show. But yes, Cody Rhodes retains. Ozzy says in the chat, AJ gonna ask for one more match. It could be a career versus belt match, maybe. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but
it's done because after the match they injected the bloodline team.
Yeah, because Solo's it's probably gonna because it's probably gonna be
story's done.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a 6-man at Money in the Bank, and then Solo Cody at SummerSlam.
Or Roman comes back.
Yeah, but Roman's gonna be a good guy.
Well, Roman takes the match and loses, and then gets jumped afterwards.
Yeah.
There's options. They've got options. That's the best thing about what's going on right now in terms of the bloodline story. They've got options.
And obviously, I think a big catalyst behind the entire book of business here is Paul Heyman, and he's just masterfully making it for us to beg Roman to come back, a man that held the title for over 1,000 days, and we're begging for him to come back a month after he last wrestled. They were starting to chant it, and the story has just been perfect. And I thought it was a good way to get Randy and KO onto the shows as well. Of course, Randy making his surprise return at the end of SmackDown on Friday. KO did get the main event slot on the Glasgow Scott SmackDown.
It was literally a copy and paste from the King and Queen of the Ring SmackDown.
Yeah.
It was just they just reversed it. Like KO was in there with Solo, and this time it was Orton in there with Solo. So
you saw how Orton was looking at that belt, though. You saw how Orton was looking at that belt.
Like I said a couple weeks ago, I thought Orton should have been, or I thought Orton should have been with the title on the line. Orton should have went over Gunther.
Yeah, or the 6-man could be SmackDown, and it could be Randy and Cody at Money in the Bank.
I mean, that'd be really quick to
yeah,
because not only you turn it on Cody there, you'd have to turn on KO too.
Yeah, which I still think Randy and KO are gonna win the tag belts eventually from DIY or Grace, because obviously, I mean, they're really teasing.
It seems like that Waller Theory tag team is, it's on borrowed time.
Or are they being
absolutely teasing that?
Or are they being too obvious with it?
No, they wouldn't be doing all of this if it wasn't eventually going to happen. So
yeah.
I think that team's on borrowed time. I just don't know how much time it's got left. And I don't know who they're planning on making the babyface out of this. If they're going to try to turn Theory or Waller babyface, I don't know how that's going to work. It seems like they're going to
Waller is easier. Yeah, I know. It's a lot easier to cheer for Waller than Theory.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, that's for damn sure. Cody and AJ went almost half an hour. Good opening to the pay-per-view with only 5 matches on the card, giving them all the time in the world to tell a great story, and they did. I just have minor gripes with I Quit matches in general. It wasn't this one specifically. I just have gripes with them in general in this day and age. So after the attack by the Bloodline, We move on to the tag team title matches. Triple threat here. Bianca and Jade defending against Alba and Isla. Big reaction for them. That was a good reaction. And Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Well, I was surprised. At least Scotland got a win here, Matt, because they didn't. That was the only win they got tonight.
Well, they didn't get a good match, so at least they got a good result.
Sure, the ropes must have been slippery because it happened a few times, but then like Zoe Stark tweeted, I did 3 springboards perfectly fine, but it wasn't just her off the ropes, though that probably I think that might have just caused a cataclysmic events of her botching, but there were a few.
It wasn't good, man.
Yeah, so maybe good. Mentally that might have screwed her up, that rope thing, but
I don't know.
But it was just botch after that, and it's like, holy cow! If we can't really get this, we can't really do a turn quite yet.
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
No,
I think they've already invested too much into her to put her back in the PC.
Well, yeah, no,
but it's nasty work, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what, like, AEW is so much better in terms of showcasing Jade's strengths and hiding her weaknesses. And it just feels like all of Jade's weaknesses are just blatantly out on display every time she's working a match on SmackDown or on a PLE or whatever. It's not pretty. I hope things turn around, but yeah. I think moving her out of the tag division into singles probably isn't a very good idea right now either. So I don't know what they're doing.
No, you got to have her feud with somebody. Obviously, they're going to get their rematch, I'm assuming, because they didn't get pinned. Obviously, you can throw some 6-woman tags together, throwing Naomi in there. You could do some things. You could have her do a freaking Ryback, Goldberg, Braun Strowman, run of jobbers for 2 or 3 months while she hopefully can get better technically in the ring, because you're going to have to if you're going to have a feud with Bianca.
At that point, you're just running the AEW formula again.
Yeah, well, you almost have to, unless you're hiding her in unless you're hiding her in tag matches and 6-woman tags. You got to, if you're not going to hit the reset button, which they can't really right now.
I honestly, I don't know what to do. I think taking the tag titles off of her, if they had plans to move her into singles action, I would beg them to reconsider, because I think it could destroy her career
in the end, though,
WWE before it even really gets started.
In the end, though, very happy for Isla and Alba, especially after I didn't even know about this until
hellish month for Alba Fire, dude.
Yeah, I saw it on I saw somebody posted on Twitter before WWE acknowledged it. I saw somebody posted on Twitter, so I looked it up. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's a shame.
Heartbreaking tragedy.
Yeah, and she was probably close to losing both her parents in that accident too. So that was just not good to read about that as literally the match was kicking off, because I saw somebody tweet about it. I can't remember whose tweet I saw about it, but yeah, I'm like, oh shit, I'm pulling for them too. I they were saying I'm pulling for these girls because for Alba's family.
I almost wonder if they weren't scheduled, if they weren't planned to win, and Triple H is like, we need a feel-good moment for Alba Fire and for the show in general.
Yeah.
In terms of like the Scottish athletes,
and you can't have them go 0-3.
Went with an audible going into that weekend. So
you could, if you really want to turn off that crowd, go 0-3 with your homegrown talent. Jeez. Though I thought, I predicted Drew to win.
They didn't seem very heartbroken about Piper Niven losing.
No, they didn't really cheer her either. Yeah. They cheered Alba and Isla. They really cheered Piper. They didn't. I don't know if it's the fact that she was going against Bayley, and
Bayley was massively over.
Yeah, that's
massively over.
That's probably a big part of it. But on top of that, she didn't get that pop until until Samantha said from Scotland, then hey, we live here, and then they pop. Kind of like when you're in Joe Blow, New Mexico, and nobody realizes that guy's from Joe Blow, New Mexico until the announcer says it. Then he gets a pop, That was kind of what Piper kind of felt like, because she didn't get one until that moment. We'll get to that in a minute, because that was a good match I want to talk about. But very happy for Alba and Isla. A great interview afterwards as well. Just Alba keeping it together in Scotland is a monumental task in itself after what happened with her mom. So that was definitely, I think, the right call in terms of feel-good moment. Plus, got to give Scotland a win, for crying out loud. They weren't going to get one, obviously, in the main event. So next up, the Intercontinental title match between Sami Zayn, Chad Gable. Man, are we... Everybody's ready for Otis to pop him, aren't they? That crowd got wild when Otis stood up to him. And then I saw comparisons when he walked off carrying Maxine. I saw comparison photos, almost looking like an identical frame of Hogan carrying off Miss Elizabeth from way back when.
It's the storyline. It's a new take on the storyline with Mandy Rose that could very much benefit Otis.
Yeah, and
he never got that payoff with the Mandy storyline properly, because we were stuck in the pandemic and the Thunderdome and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So, I think Otis was one of the biggest miscarriages of justice that occurred during that time, because the crowd reaction is what was making him so over.
Yep.
And he lost all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, and I feel like they could do something very similar now with Otis and Maxine. And I think Otis has a very high potential to be a top baby face for WWE going forward if they don't screw things up.
Man. I've loved Otis since day one, and the reaction I got when he won Money in the Bank, I was so happy for him.
Yes, Ozzy. Chad Gable confirmed prior to Clash at the Castle that he had signed a new contract with WWE.
Now, this is my original thought, where I talked about it with AJ. This is my original thought of career versus title, because that look Gable had on his face tells me that this ain't over yet.
Sami told him after the match, that's it.
He did, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when he gets ganged up 3-on-1 by the Creed brothers and Chad. I don't know. That look on Chad's face told me it wasn't it, even though Sami said it was it. And then with Otis and Maxine, it's weird. It doesn't seem like a love story to me. Like, obviously Mandy and Otis was, but
it absolutely could turn into one.
It could turn into one. Yeah.
You got to keep in mind when Otis and Maxine first started, it was Maxine flirting with Otis wanting him to become a model.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that,
they could easily circle back to something, similar to that.
Speaking of the models, they might be showing up on AEW sometime soon.
They were backstage at Collision on Saturday. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they did, but they were absolutely backstage at Collision on Saturday.
What's Dio? Who's Dio going by now in the Indies? It starts with an M. I know it's Mansoor and something. I can't remember. Now, Chad, help me out if you know it. But he's going.
I know they go as MXM.
Yeah, because it starts with an M.
I just know him by his real name. I know him as Brennan Williams. So yeah. I'm not sure. He might just be going as Madden.
I thought it was Mark something, but I don't know.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up. But I thought it was a good match, but it kind of played out how it's really been playing out all along, with Otis and Maxine not helping, and there was really no progression. I think the progression is going to probably happen tonight with Gable. I think this is where the Creeds are going to beat up Otis and Tozawa. They probably didn't do it in Scotland because they didn't have Tozawa travel. So I'm guessing that whole thing's probably going to play out tonight. So that's maybe why they didn't do it at the pay-per-view, which I could understand. But obviously, I mean, we're talking Chad Gable, Sami Zayn. You can't go wrong there, can you?
I don't know if I want to see it again, personally.
I know. I just don't.
I feel like they've kind of done this feud to death since even before WrestleMania, and we're heading into SummerSlam, and I'm just like
that look he had in the ring just tells me it's not
Mason Madden.
Mason Madden. Thank you.
I said I knew the name Madden was sticking out to me. So.
Wasn't Mark Madden?
Certainly not.
Oh boy.
No one cares about Mark Madden in 2024.
Well, he does. He thinks people do, but anyways, yeah. Very good match for the IC belt there. We'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting. Next up, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. As we mentioned, Piper, not really much fanfare until
Bayley.
Bayley. And but Piper, not much fanfare, which was surprising. I figured people knew she was from Scotland. I don't know. But again, you said Bayley's over there. That might have been more with who she faced as opposed to where she's from. Chelsea Green coming back in a luchador mask was hilarious. And then somebody on Twitter called her Chelsea Verde. Might be onto something. And then Matt Cardona goes, I know how to get back into the WWE. And he was wearing that mask as well. Man, I wish Cardona would come back in this H era.
I don't think they'd use him properly.
Yeah, probably not. He makes enough money as it is. Is he almost back?
I don't know. Still on the shelf for a while? He's basically said he doesn't want anybody to know when he's going to be back. He said basically he wants people to think that he's coming out to cut a promo at an indie event or something, and all of a sudden he's back. He's back in a match. So like when he start working again, we won't know until it happens. So he wants to keep that. He wants to keep that close to the vest. I respect that.
So basically, wait till Effie gets the title from Mance, and then all of a sudden he just, surprise, you're in a match with me, and he pins Effie for the title. I can see that happening. I thought Piper and Bayley had a damn good match here with for the title. Though the match was never in question for me. I thought they had a good match. What were your thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, match was good. No issues with it at all. They worked very well together. The match was never in doubt. So it's not like I was watching thinking at any point that Piper was going to beat Bayley, but it was still a good match.
Yeah. Nice call out for old Joseph Park by Graves there when Piper hit the black hole slam on the outside. Into the abyss. Some of us caught it. All of a sudden, after this match, I'm like, oh, crap, we're at the main event already. Yes, we are. It's only 5 matches on the card. I mean, we were barely 2 hours in, I think, when they started the setup for the main event. And we have some bagpipe players playing Scotland the Brave, leading up to Drew McIntyre with no broken dreams. Man, we were all thinking it was finally time. We got Lobster Head.
I honestly didn't expect it.
Really?
No, because we barely even got it 2 years ago when they did it, and they did it for like 15 seconds and went back to his new theme. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. They're never gonna go back to it. So yeah, wasn't surprised.
And thoughts with Drew's wife, who had to stay in the States. She had emergency surgery.
Yeah, that sucks, dude. Can you imagine having to be over there?
Yeah.
And dealing with all the media and dealing with the pressure of that main event and everything on your shoulders while your wife's over back home and in the United States having emergency surgery. I can't even begin to comprehend what he had to have been feeling emotionally.
Yeah.
Going through all of that.
Yeah, exactly. And no word on why or what, but just had to have emergency surgery.
Honestly, none of our business.
No.
I just hope she's doing okay.
Damian Priest taking on Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. And man, the crowd was hot for Drew. It was a great scene, and scary moment when Priest went for his springboard top rope move, and not only got slipped up in the ropes, but tied up in the ropes.
He's very lucky that didn't lead to a serious injury. So lucky.
Props to Drew checking with the ref to make sure Priest was okay before attacking him while he was hung up on the ropes. Yeah, that was a little subtlety I noticed there, but God, very scary. AAA. I don't know if Priest spoke, but I think Triple H confirmed.
Priest spoke in the post show.
He confirmed that he wasn't hurt. He was selling. Good sell job too, by the way.
Priest said he hadn't gone to the doctors yet, and he went straight to the press conference, which honestly should be a sign of he's okay.
Yeah.
Because I would like to think WWE in 2024 would be more worried about making sure their champion's okay and making sure he's checked out by the doctors instead of lugging him over into a freaking press conference. So like at that point you had to know that he's all right, but it could have been disastrous. So they're very lucky that things went the way that they did, because it could have easily been an Adam Copeland situation where he got through the match and then tonight he had to relinquish the title.
Yeah.
Very lucky we didn't have to deal with that.
No kidding. Then we got a ref bump, and we're like, oh, we know who's coming now.
Yeah.
Little did we know that he went and borrowed a ref shirt from Jessica Carr, and
it was so. Oh
yeah, you can tell by the hair.
Exactly.
Tell, yeah.
Like I saw people go, "Oh, it was him." I'm like, did you not look at the hair?
Yeah.
Like like nobody else has that stupid slick back hair. Like it was
maybe
obviously Punk.
Maybe that Dracula ref that Michael Cole was ribbing on Raw last week, the guy looking like Dracula, but no, you can tell it was Punk. Especially when you have the camera up his ass and you're hiding who it is. Again, you're telling us without telling us. So, but Punk being the great asshole that he is, screwing Drew out of the title, basically, kicking him in the dick, which led to a second South of Heaven, which looks impressive as hell when Priest does it on a big guy like McIntyre. And the original ref comes to and counts to 3, 20 minutes in. The obvious question here, Matt, was this the right call?
I don't think so.
Me either.
Because I have zero interest in seeing Gunther versus Damian Priest at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And maybe they could shift it around, and maybe they could tell a good story to get me on board between now and then. But right now, as we sit here, zero desire to see Priest versus Gunther. I'm still hoping that something takes place between now and SummerSlam where there's some kind of trade that Gunther and Ludwig get moved over to SmackDown for somebody, and Gunther challenges Cody instead, because I think that's a much bigger marquee match. But
yeah.
I'm so not interested in Gunther versus in Priest. I feel like they could have put the title on McIntyre. They could have let Punk win Money in the Bank, and he could have called his shot at SummerSlam and made the thing a triple threat. And that way you still get Drew and Punk, you get Gunther involved in that way, and that's an interesting triple threat that I'd be really excited about watching.
Is there any road
I'd love to see Gunther chop the shit out of Punk.
Is there any road that leads to a fatal 4-way at this point?
A 4-way? Who's the fourth guy?
Drew. He got screwed.
You're talking like, yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so. I can't see that taking place. They had the opportunity to change course on Saturday, and they didn't do it.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised that Priest may not be champ by SummerSlam either.
Okay, but then who's facing Gunther? That's the problem.
Yeah, who's going to win Money in the Bank?
Well, I would think Jey Uso or Finn Balor, and they're both in the triple threat match tonight. So whoever wins that triple threat will probably win Money in the Bank, unless they do one of those last chance qualifying matches like they have.
They probably will.
And then if Balor gets in tonight, then Jay gets in the last
Jay
chance,
gets,
or vice versa.
That's a better story.
So I'm
Jay
not sure. I'm not sure what they're gonna do, but I think it's either Jay or Balor gets Money in the Bank right now.
I've been begging for a Judgment Day holding the briefcase while one's got the world title. I mean, that story writes itself, but yet WWE has not wanted to go down that road. Maybe they finally go down that damn road and they kick Damian out. Liv Morgan maybe gets into Finn. Well, Finn took that hotel key, didn't he? I think Finn.
I don't think we 100% know who took that key yet.
I saw a still shot of Phil of Finn's hand over the key, and then it disappeared. So I think Finn took the key. So I wouldn't be surprised.
His wife's gonna have a thing or two to say about that.
Heyo, kayfabe. It's still real to me, but I can foresee Liv infiltrating the Judgment Day, which keeps Dom and Finn in, and if Finn's in, JD's in, and they excommunicate Damian. Damian turns babyface, and maybe Damian gets his own group together, and when Mommy comes back, they get a little brouhaha. But I fully can see Liv poisoning Judgment Day, starting with Dom and maybe Finn and going on down the line. And then Finn wins that Money in the Bank, and Liv says, "Cash in on Damian," and there you go. Do you
want to see Finn versus Gunther?
Kind of do.
I don't know if I believe Finn's been built up enough to do Finn versus Gunther right now.
No.
And that's the problem. Like, who's been built up properly enough to step in with Gunther at SummerSlam with the way Gunther's been booked for the past 2 years?
That's why I said I didn't want Gunther to win King of the Ring.
That's exactly the same thing I said.
Yeah, I said I wanted somebody to screw him
I feel like they booked themselves in a bad creative corner right now.
Because if they would have
win that match,
if they would have had someone screw Gunther, that could have been your SummerSlam feud.
And it would have been just fine if they would have just said the winner of the King and Queen of the Ring can pick the title they're challenging for.
Yeah, not be
Gunther's
stuck
gonna
to
be
brands.
like, I'm challenging Cody Rhodes, and like that would have
Yeah.
worked. Cody's been built up properly to a point where I feel like a match with Gunther is a spectacle main event of a match. I can't think of anybody on Raw right now,
boy,
with the exception of like Drew, that could have been in there with Gunther.
I just had a wild thought.
I mean, I don't know. Seth, I guess.
I just had a wild
what's Seth's
thought.
status? We don't know Seth's status.
Yeah.
So,
what if Gunther gets screwed at SummerSlam by, say, I don't know if it's going to happen, but wilder shit's happened. Returning Brock Lesnar.
No.
I don't know.
No, because if you're gonna do Brock and Gunther, you're not gonna do it at some throwaway pay-per-view following SummerSlam. You'd want to build that. You'd want to build that for WrestleMania 41.
Yeah.
So
we just gotta go back into the DeLorean and have Xavier Woods win the crown for a second straight time and not have
we all knew that was never gonna happen.
No. Well, yeah, I did not want Gunther to win King of the Ring. Did not. But anyways, we're here, so we got to deal with it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Right now I have there's years where you have a good idea who probably is going to win Money in the Bank. I don't know. It's kind of wide open right now, especially which is the way the WWE is right now. It's kind of it's wild. I'd love Finn to get it just because he's long overdue for a world title reign.
I think Jay and Finn make no sense right now.
Jay deserves a world title reign. I mean, Jesus. I mean, coming from a tag team where you never in your wildest dreams would have thought that these guys would be breaking out on their own like they are. And you never thought that one would become like literally a top star in the company. And Jay has done that. And he has persevered through a lot of things in the bloodline storylines to get to where he's at now, and he's had a world title shot here and there, and so winning Money in the Bank would be perfect, I think. So, all right, it is now the other paid event that happened this weekend, actually more Friday night. TNA Against All Odds happened. This is my first viewing of TNA since Scott D'Amore got let go.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I'm guessing I haven't missed much, have I, Matt?
This was not a good show, dude.
Look at those guys, though. I like everybody in that photo.
Yeah, none of them are being used properly.
No.
It's a perfect. I mean, Jeff just got back, so they haven't had a chance to ruin him yet.
Well, they could have. They could have.
Everybody else in that picture is a poster child of TNA not properly using their top stars right now.
They could have cut the pay-per-view before he hit the swanton, like he did that one time he returned to the company. Remember that? Remember that on Impact one night.
I went into this show with very high expectations.
Yeah, the card looked good.
And I left very, very disappointed.
That's why I decided.
Beyond the Jeff Hardy return at the end, like, they had so many stupid creative decisions on this show.
Yeah.
Like, it made me want to put my head against the wall. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what TNA's thinking right now, but this ain't it.
No,
this ain't it. Not with all the eyes you had on you with the last couple of weeks with the integration with NXT.
Yeah.
To put for this to be the show that you chose to put out after all that, honestly, everybody in TNA's creative management should be ashamed of themselves.
And you should be on your hands and goddamn knees begging Scott D'Amore to come back and give him a pay raise, give him ownership in the company, and otherwise just go fuck yourself. That's what I told Impact or TNA when they let go of D'Amore. I said, go fuck yourself. I haven't seen a TNA show since.
I cover it every week for WrestleZone.
Yeah, I have not.
More often than not, I enjoy Impact.
Yeah.
And I really did. Like, I didn't like the Hardy Compound thing on Thursday. I thought it was the first time ever that something took place at the Hardy Compound that I did not enjoy.
I didn't watch it, obviously.
You can check it out on YouTube afterwards. We don't got time to run it down.
Okay.
But I didn't like it. But I really did. I thought, like, man, like, the card on paper, this should deliver. This should be a really good show for TNA. And I even, like, I don't know if I tweeted this out, but I know I said this yesterday at the Mark Hoke show. Like, there was a point in the third hour, I'm like, man, I wish I'd have just watched Rampage.
Yeah.
You know, and I ended up watching Rampage later that night on DVR, but, like, I was severely disappointed in Against All Odds. And note to the talents over there, Jordan Grace, I love you to death, but do not tease on social media Friday morning that Natalya is going to be your opponent for the open challenge and give us Tatum Paxley instead.
Hey, I called that, by the way.
Yeah, but it was a terrible decision. Don't do that. Not good. I don't know what they were. I seriously don't know what they were thinking.
Based on your keeping up with Impact, should the Nemeth brothers have beaten the system?
Yes.
Okay. Now
the system's stale, dude.
We all know the next match.
Stale since they've been put together.
We all know the next match. We all know the next match. Why the fuck did Joe Hendry not beat Frankie Kazarian? That's when I came into the pay-per-view. Was that match was right at the beginning of Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian. Why did Frankie's like an older veteran? Why he's supposed to be putting over talent? Why did he beat Joe Hendry in 8 minutes?
The way this company's treating Joe Hendry right now is criminal. Criminal.
I mean,
they've paired him up with a polarizing figure in Ace Steel, which is going to get some people to turn on Hendry because they don't like Steel. You have him losing to Kazarian, who should have been putting Hendry over. And then you expect people to believe in Joe Hendry, no pun intended, when he runs in at the end of the night to come after the system when he lost to Frankie Kazarian earlier in the damn show.
I think Xavier Woods is putting over Joe Hendry more than Impact is putting over Joe Hendry.
It wouldn't be hard. I
No.
don't know if it's because maybe I don't know Hendry's contract status. Maybe his deal's up soon, and maybe they're just like they're not willing to commit to a push because
Yeah.
he might be out the door soon or something.
He might be in NXT.
But he might be in that battle royal tomorrow night. We don't know.
Man, the pop. He'll get a pop in Orlando if he's in that thing.
But it's the booking of Joe Hendry with that company right now is mind-boggling. It really and truly is. Like I can't fathom what they're doing over there.
Best thing on the show was Mustafa Ali and Trent Seven. That match was fucking good.
It was a good match. I think I like the tag match in the show a little more. The Eric Young and
yeah, that was good
Josh
too.
Alexander against ABC.
That was good too.
I think that was my favorite. I think that was my favorite match on the show. I
like the X Division a little more.
I thought that match kicked all kind of. Look, the X Division match was great, but that tag match was badass. Like those two matches were easily the highlights of the show.
Yeah, and I thought Tatum Paxley looked good against Jordan Grace.
But here's the problem: Tatum Paxley's treated like a joke on NXT. No, she's not believable. No one thinks she's a threat to anything on Tuesday nights. But she just went over to TNA and went toe to toe with Jordan Grace. That doesn't make any sense. So make it make sense. That's the problem.
She should have, yeah. And then we had the Broken Rules match to main event with Moose against Broken Matt Hardy. And
this match made no sense to the Broken Matt Hardy character. As someone who was so strict with Brother Nero to stop the spot monkeyness of his character, the match didn't make any sense. I enjoyed the match for what it was. I went in knowing damn well Matt wasn't winning. But for the broken Matt Hardy character, that match didn't make any sense.
No. But it was I thought it was a fun match overall. I mean, geez, Matt can still go, so I thought it was pretty good. We all knew Jeff was going to make the save, and once again, Jeff taking his time he just standing there and posing. And that's just turned into a meme. He
didn't do this at least.
He didn't dance.
So
yeah,
he didn't do the dance at least. So
he just stood there with a chair. But anyways, Rebby, holy crap, she's in shape.
She looked great.
I think she is. And I've heard
apparently there's talks about her working a match. I saw it would be her and Alicia at some point.
Yeah, she hasn't wrestled since 2016, which was in Impact. But yeah, obviously she used to be a wrestler. If you don't know Rebby Hardy, but yeah, she's in tremendous shape right now. So I have a feeling she's going for a comeback. D wants me to do. That was hilarious on his AEW debut. That was fucking hilarious. Well, we were going to talk some other things, but we don't have time.
Hangman and Ricochet and all that. We're out of time.
Hangman's coming back soon. Going to be a heel. Ricochet, they're still trying to maybe sweet talk him. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think it's happening.
So that's that. And then of course, get ready for the Wyatt 6 hopefully tonight. And I still can't access the preview page, WWE.com. Jesus Christ. The only thing right now is the triple threat between Ray, Finn, and Jay. That's on the graphic. Then you try to hit the preview and it says you're not authorized. So maybe the Wyatt 6 is screwing with the website. I don't know. But any last words, Matt? As swimming,
I'm looking over the Raw plans from Fightful, and there's nothing about the Wyatt 6 in there. So unless they're just not on the rundown, they might be pissing a lot of people off tonight.
Yeah. They might not be on the rundown though.
I'm hoping they just decided to leave them off the rundown.
Because why would they put it where they're going to be on the rundown?
No, maybe they changed plans because of the NBA Finals. I guess we're about to find out. Let's do it.
Well, swimming is over. We got the Peacock logo on the screen, so it's time for WWE Monday Night Raw. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back same bat time, same bat channel, 10 after 7 Eastern and 6 Central next week. Enjoy Raw, enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.